Good morning from South Africa. I've been doing this now a couple of times. And welcome to Cheyanne's Jewelry podcast. I'm your host, Cheyanne, and welcome to my podcast for all your high-end fun. Now, why my name, Cheyanne? Well, it's because before podcasting, I have a website called Cheyanne's Jewelry. So I wanted to keep the Cheyanne's Jewelry theme alive. So there you go. Welcome to Cheyanne's Jewelry podcast, and I'm your host, Cheyanne. Let's have some fun. Now, why do I podcast? I podcast to keep my dad's memory alive. He passed away on the 11th of June 2020. My dad is the legendary South African celebrity Beau Brummel, better known as the Nude King of South Africa, for he opened South Africa's first ever nudist resort, Beau Valley, up in Wombats. But before that, he was a rock and roll singer in the early 1960s in London, England, United Kingdom. Then he moved back to South Africa. The singing didn't really work out for him in South Africa, so he picked up acting. He acted in the picture books, mostly in Afrikaans. He acted in the Rooi Major, which is the Red Major. He acted in Hawk, and then Beau. They were mostly all in black and white. And then came Beau die Ontembare, or Beau the Untamed, which was the first one to be printed in color. Then, of course, TV came along, and that was the end of the picture books. But that was not the end of my dad. He and my mom, and Keith van der Walt, Janice Reinhardt, and Patrick Meinhardt, all South African actors and actresses, made a movie together called 3 Bullets for a Long Gun, a spaghetti western, which my dad got the idea from the picture books. So in 1971, in New York, Marion Studios, or Marion Films, which no longer exists, bought 3 Bullets for a Long Gun from my dad, my cat, and was meant to pay him royalties. But after 3 months, they declared themselves bankrupt. So that means the rights revert back to my mom and dad, who both wrote the script together of 3 Bullets for a Long Gun. Now, other people are making money on his name, which is illegal, and there is nothing I can do about it, for I do not have the money for a lawyer to sue them. And speaking about people making money off my dad's name, all his songs being sold on Amazon and iTunes and Spotify is illegal, for he has not been paid. He was meant to get royalties, of course, and nothing. So remember that Beau's family gets nothing. I get nothing. But if you would like to help me, you could by buying our books from Amazon, available in Kindle or paperback. My book, my personal book, is called Growing Up in the Buff, which is about my life at Beau Valley. My dad's books is Once We Were Naked, Africa's Naked Tribe, and the movie script, Presidents, Pop Stars, and Pagans. Or you could donate towards my cause on my GoFundMe account. Number 2. Now this is for all you animal lovers out there. My cause is to raise enough money to move to another country. After what's happened in South Africa, the burning and the looting, we are just getting closer and closer on being the next Zimbabwe. And I don't want to be here for that. I don't want my mom to be here for that. So the reason for my cause is to raise enough money to move to another country. But not just that. I have 3 fur babies, a dog and 2 cats, buried in my garden. My dog or I should say my dad's dog, Jacko, passed away 3 days before my dad died. And of course, we weren't all in our right minds. Otherwise, I would have had my dog cremated with my dad. My dad is cremated, but I would have had my dog Jacko cremated with my dad. So I'd like to have my 3 fur babies cremated, and I'd like them to come with me. I don't want to leave them here. I also have a cat named Mickey, who I've had since she was 1 week old. And wherever I go in the world, I want her to come with me. And that costs money. For she has to be microchipped, she has to have blood tests or a teeter test, and she has to have paperwork done. And I'd also like to register her as an emotional support cat, for I suffer from anxiety. And taking an animal overseas is not cheap. Apparently it's more expensive than buying a ticket for yourself. But I'm not leaving her behind. She is my baby. So all this costs money, and a lot of it. So this is my main cause, to move to another country, to a better country with my mom and my fur baby Mickey. So please, if you can find it in your hearts to help me with my cause, please help me. And thank you to a lovely person named Nubia for her donation. May the Lord bless you. And thirdly, why do I love podcasting? And also for my GoFundMe account. The reason for my GoFundMe account is, as a South African wanting to live and work in Canada. Now I'd like to carry on with my jewelry. I'd still like to open my shop, the Mengelmoes shop in Canada. That's where I would like to go. I would love to move to Canada. But of course not many Canadians will know what the Mengelmoes means. It means a mixture of things. But the South Africans will. So I'll still like to use my name, Cheyanne's Jewelry, and the Mengelmoes shop in Canada. You have to have a certain amount of money to move to Canada, and I'm looking at about 30 to 40,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 25,000 pounds. Hence the goal of my 25,000 pounds on my GoFundMe account. But that doesn't include the cremations and teeter tests and flight tickets, so there will always be a hiccup. But I'm not giving up. So please help me towards my cause, so there are no more hiccups. I know it's difficult out there due to this pandemic, but hopefully things will pick up. Even if you donate £10 or $10 or less, I think the minimum is £5 or $5. That'll be lovely. So please help me to move to a better country with my mom and my fur baby Mickey. Thank you so much. Take care, stay safe, and remember, adopt and don't shop. Let's also keep Beau Brummel's memory alive. Thank you.
Situated in the Waterberg mountain range is Bow Valley.
My famous Bow Valley nudist resort.
Nudism is an inherent genetic urge to get back close to the natural elements. Naturism, nudism, or free body culture began in Germany at the turn of the century and rapidly spread throughout Europe. Today, of course, it is acknowledged and accepted by all responsible governments throughout the Western world as a legitimate form of tourism and recreation.
My naam is Cheyanne. Ek is Beau Brummel se dogter.
My naam is Cecilia. Ek was Beau se vrou gewees. Ons was 54 jaar getroud voordat hy weg is. En mis hom verskriklik. Mis hom baie.
Is nudism or naturism something new? Or is it an offshoot of a promiscuous society? Or perhaps an inherent genetic urge to get back close to the natural elements of sun, air, and water? Perhaps we could take a different approach to this worldwide phenomena and use anthropology and paleoanthropology for our thesis.
And yeah, it was an extremely unexpected thing that happened to him. Very sudden, and that he was gone, which was an incredible shock for everybody. Even the press, they all phoned and everybody said that they were sorry. Just a pity they didn't
Do it sooner.
Yes,
When he was still here.
It was always, isn't it always, that when people are gone, that other people appreciate them when it's too late. Would be nice, but he's here with us. He's here with us all the time.
In 1924, Professor Raymond Dart of Wits University discovered a unique fossil skull at Tung, and he called it Australopithecus africanus.
He said, when I leave Hilton College, I will move to England and I'll become a rock and roll singer. And that's what he did in the 1960s.
Yeah.
In the 1960s, I was a pop singer in London, hence the name Beau Brummel. Here I am with a horse and carriage on my way to opening the first boutique in Carnaby Street.
You'll see on his wall, my dad is on one side of the record and then on the other side is Tom Jones. And they actually got to meet at the EMI studios in London. Decided to come back to South Africa. When he came to South Africa, and that's when he did the picture books.
At the time, we were sort of looked down upon as because we were just models, but we were in fact the highest paid actors in the country. After we'd been finished filming the magazines, which took 2 or 3 days, we always used to take the heroines out with us, and most of us ended up in bed with them. We were stars, they were beautiful, sexy girls, and the chemistry was right. We used to have sex.
I'll tweak their noses and set their hair on fire.
I used to write the stories. One day, I wrote a script for a photo comic called 3 Bullets for a Longer. And when I handed it in to get the okay, they said, this is so good, it actually should be a movie. This was one desire I'd always had. Ever since Clint Eastwood in Rome said, why don't you make movies? And we made 3 Bullets for a Longer.
10 miles south across the desert to Scorpion Mountains and 4 miles west over.
Such a lot of money out of it that I bought the property to start my famous Bow Valley Nudist Resort.
Just 2 hours north of Africa's most industrious and wealthiest city is Bow Valley, situated in the picturesque Waterberg mountain range. It's the only legal naturist facility in southern Africa, a country where nudity has long been considered taboo. After a strenuous game of volleyball under the hot African sun, members gather in the Lapa for refreshments.
Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah,
we were in there for the biggest nudist resort in the world. In the world.
Yeah.
Bow Valley, a mountain estate exceeding 1,000 acres, is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest naturist facility in the world. Indigenous wild animals and an abundance of bird life make this resort unique.
Naturism is a way of life in harmony with nature, encouraging self-respect, respect for others, and for the environment.
You know, the thing is, my dad to me was my dad. When other people got to see him and people would, oh, is that Beau Brummel? The legend, oh, Bodie Ontembare. And I mean, to me, he was my dad, you know. He wasn't Bodie Ontembare. And of course, Bow Valley, I was raised in Bow Valley. I grew up in Bow Valley. So growing up in a naturist resort, it was nothing different to me, you know. For me, it was fine, because I got to get to be in the newspapers. As jy praat van, daar was 'n story where we were expelled from school. I enjoyed it because I didn't like school so much, so I got expelled and we were out of school for about a week. And it was nice to have my picture once in a while in the newspapers and things like that. At school, when us girls would shower together, because I was in boarding school, both Lord Milner and Settlers, and the girls would go, oh, I'm so jealous of you. You've got an all-over tan. You don't have costume marks. So I think it just made me very open-minded. That's how it is. You know, there was a lot of freedom at Bow Valley. You know, you got to learn about different people and different cultures and things like that. So,
Michelle, you're the president of the Nature's Federation in Canada. How do you see the future of naturism with so much cold weather?
what I liked about my dad, when he saw that you were interested, he'd walk up to, hello, I'm Bo, hoe gaan dit met jou? You know, so that was, the people's faces used to light up. It was just so cool.
He treated people with the idea that if people come to you, you treat them like you know them and they're your own. He was a very open person.
Non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental, yes, non-judgmental.
If Major could see, it was lucky for him, he found me. Nothing will stand in our way on this wonderful, wonderful day. We'll be together. We'll be together. It's a wonderful day. All my dreams that I have will come true. It's a wonderful day. When we find it, I know what I'll do. If Major could see, it was lucky for him, he found me. 'Cause nothing will stand in our way on this wonderful, wonderful day. On this wonderful, wonderful day. On this wonderful, wonderful day.
Major,